Africa is actually going through a lot because the clinic in South Africa is currently empty and they are all voicing out. You guys, South Africa started chasing out immigrants from their hospital, now making the immigrants to run to private clinics to get checkup for their body, because according to Match and Match, that the government clinics are meant for only South Africa. Apparently, as I'm speaking to you, the clinics in South Africa make a whole lot of money from the foreigners, the immigrants that is in the country. Now the clinics are empty and they are voicing out because their businesses are crashing down currently. So and people are currently reacting. Those nurses here have actually come out to say that the clinics are empty and they are voicing out. You guys are going to be checking out people's reaction, but do all by liking this video, subscribe and share.
Yazi liba kodwa emthi kanjani emthinto nje engayi-understand
sanibonani ninjani guys, where are you? The clinic is empty. Ngicela nize eclinic, ngiyanicela maningeze eclinic anginawo umsebenzi, ngicela nize eclinic sinilindile to render the services.
If you know yourself that you're not South African, please stand up. Please stand up. Please don't try and stand up right now. Stand up. Sister, are you South African? Are you South African? Because we are going to check everybody. Check them. Please, if you're not South African, come with me. Come. Come with me. Come. Come. You guys are not South African, go out. You can go to Unjani, block P there, or Mutilo Hospital, go. Hey, fast. Because Zimbabwe, you run past and go to the border. Hurry. Madam South African? If you know yourself, please stand up. If you know yourself that you're not South African, all these nurses and doctors, they are here for South Africans. South Africa. Please stand up. Don't try us. What's that? You run past the border and
So let me give my opinion on local South Africans who are blocking clinics and are blocking hospitals because they don't want foreigners to get the services, or they are making it impossible for foreigners to be helped in local clinics and hospitals. I am going to make an example of my hometown, right? Since I was 10 years old, we still have the same number of clinics. In fact, the last time we built a new clinic was when Nelson Mandela was a president. Some of you were not even born when Nelson Mandela was a president. That is the last time there was a new clinic in my hometown. We still have the same hospital, which was never big enough to cater for the population. But the problem is the population has more than doubled. It has more than doubled. But we have the same capacity, the same clinics, and the same one hospital to take care of the whole town. And the number of nurses have not increased, the number of doctors have not increased, but there is expectation that this capacity is supposed to service an increased number of local people. And we don't have foreign nationals in my hometown, but the capacity of the clinics and the hospital is not able to cater for the local people. Now, this is not a situation only in my hometown. It's a situation in almost every town in the country. In Soweto, we still have that Baragwana hospital as the only hospital that is capable of taking care of people, especially for certain diseases. There has never been any new hospital built which is not a private hospital. There has never been more clinics built. People are still using the same hospitals and the same clinics that they were using during apartheid. So the new government or the ANC government has not built clinics, has not built hospitals. They have not hired more nurses. Instead, they closed nursing colleges. And now we have people who are graduating as medical doctors and they are unemployed. I was seeing story of the doctors in Durban protesting and sleeping outside during winter because they are protesting that they have not been employed for years since they graduated. That is not a foreigner's problem. That is a local people's problem. That is our problem. But to numb our pain, we use foreigners as a scapegoat for the problems that we have. Instead of confronting ourselves and saying, we are responsible for the fact that we have failed to build more hospitals, we have failed to build more clinics. We are instead blaming Tendani from Bulawayo. That is not right, guys. That is not right. You cannot continue to use foreigners to numb your pain. You must confront your pain. You must be able to hold yourself accountable. You must be able to say that we have failed. We have failed to build hospitals. We have failed to build clinics. We have failed to employ more doctors, even though we now have a capacity of doctors who can be able to alleviate the problem. We are not employing them. They are unemployed. It's crazy. But instead of doing accountability, instead of holding ourselves accountable, we are blaming foreigners. We are then saying, oh, well, foreigners, you are not allowed to use our clinics. You are not allowed to use our hospitals because you are making it impossible for us as local to get the services. No, it is not the foreigners' problem. The problem is our government. Our government has engaged in austerity measures. Austerity means our government has decided by themselves that they will not spend any more money on healthcare. They will not spend any more money on policing. They will not spend any more money to ensure that people are employed. They have decided that it is a government policy that we will not spend money except to pay salaries of the people that we already have. We will not employ more people. That is where the problem is. You are never going to build more hospitals because the government policy is that you're not going to build. You are not going to have nursing colleges because of a government policy. You are not going to have doctors employed because the government has decided that it does not want to hire more doctors. That is government policy. It is not Tendani from Bulawayo. It's not. So can we stop doing stupid things of blaming all our problems on foreigners? Foreigners have done nothing to you. They are just going to clinics the same way that you go to a clinics. The fact that you wait 4 hours at the clinic, it is not because of the foreigners. It is because of your government with their austerity measures. Go and find out what we mean by austerity measures that our government have implemented. For the last 10 years, austerity measures have been there. You are never going to employ more doctors. You're never going to employ more nurses. You're never going to have more clinics because our government's policy is that you're not going to spend more money on things that South Africans need. So stop being stupid. Stop being stupid. And then we're seeing video clips on TV of you guys blocking foreigners and denying people medical help that they need. Women who are pregnant and they need to give birth, they cannot give birth because you guys are blocking them, and you think that by blocking them, then a situation is going to improve. No, it is not going to improve. You are just afraid to face reality. Be a man. Face a reality. The problem is not the foreigners. The problem is your government. Confront your government and ask them, why are you implementing austerity measures? Why are you not hiring doctors? Those doctors who were protesting, why are they not hired? Go and ask that health minister that you guys like and think is so good. Go and ask him, why are you not hiring these doctors? We are waiting for long, in a long queues. Why are you not hiring them so that our lives can improve when we go to the clinics and we go to the hospitals? But you will not do that. And this is the difference between South Africans and the other Africans. Other Africans, the countries are poor, but they have gotten to a point where they stop blaming other people for the problems. We continue to blame people. When your child who goes to Kiro is a drug addict, you will blame a Nigerian. When you are living in a house with butler proof, you are blaming a Zimbabwean. You say they're gonna break. No, but even before they came, you were still living in a house with a butler proof. Can we stop blaming people for the problems that we created ourselves, that we can solve ourselves, and just acknowledge that, in fact, we are the one who messed up. We are the one who messed up. So stop.
No more protests and no more marches on the streets of Republic of South Africa. And Thursday's weekly marches announced by the March and March vigilante organization Jacinta Ngizwe will no longer be tolerated. South Africa is now a banana republic, and there is a government in charge. Law offenders will be broken and perpetrators will be brought to justice. Those are the words of ANC Secretary General Lilian Barula. Initially, the tune of the organizers of the marches was very violent. But after that, the government and the law enforcement agencies dosed out the action plan, now changed the tune of the organizers to be peaceful. But behind the peaceful tune by the organizers is full of deceit and hypocrisy. Because on the street of protest, there is a lot of hooliganism that's going on. And what have bottle store and alcohol outlet got to do with the protesters? If the protesters are genuinely protesting, what do they have to do with the bottle store for looting the bottle stores and looting the other shops outlets? And from now henceforward, this is the words of the executive order from ANC Secretary General Lilian Barula. And here is a take home for you. No more marches, no more looting, and lawbreakers will be dealt with decisively. Follow Image Maker Networking on what is trending. Let's go to the comment section and air your view.
Government must act decisively. Security forces and everything. We don't need marches every Wednesday or Thursday, shutting the country down as security forces are running around. And as I conclude, the so-called 600 million that has been announced, if the state allowed everything to be out of hand, we know what happened in the past, where the state was lackluster. The police came, they were outnumbered. Here in Gauteng and KZN. Because people in their very nature, if they are not policed, they tend to be anarchic. What made them in Yeovil to want to raid a bottle store? If they are fighting over an issue of immigration. The store was closed. They wanted to break in because bafuna batywala. What does that alcohol have to do with the demand at hand? They could not loot like they did in July because the police were deployed and working overtime. At night here at GP, they were throwing stones. The organizers changed from a violence language to a peaceful thing, which was good. But when they started, Jacinta and them, they were calling for violent action. And people who think that they can ascend to a podium and call on people to be violent must be arrested. There's no negotiation.